She said it was just a girls' mental health retreat, but her phone records told a different story. And when I walked in on her with him, our son called him by his name. That's when I realized this man had been in my home, around my children, and I was 6,000 miles away thinking she was the love of my life. They say war changes you, but for me it wasn't the combat, the desert heat, or even the danger. What really changed me was what happened back home. My name is Noah Mercer. I'm 33, a captain in the Air Force, stationed overseas on a year-long deployment. 6 months in, I thought the worst was behind me. Back in Idaho, my wife Jenna was doing her best to manage the home front. 3 kids, a full-time job working in security logistics for a military contractor. I knew it wasn't easy. I respected how strong she was. Before I deployed, I made sure everything was taken care of. All our bills were put on autopay. Groceries were stocked. Even left some letters behind for my kids, just in case. We were good. Every couple of weeks, I'd check our online accounts. Not because I didn't trust her, but because in my line of work, you don't leave anything to chance. One day, between briefings, I logged in to check our bank accounts. Mortgage, paid, utilities, covered. Everything looked normal until I opened the credit card. At first, it was nothing out of the ordinary. A couple of fast food runs, grocery bills, and the supermarket. But then, a charge for $768, SkyWest Airlines. A round-trip ticket to Santa Monica, California. I blinked, refreshed the page. The ticket had been booked 3 weeks ago. The flight was scheduled for next month, but I still had 6 months left in my deployment. I sat there for a second, stunned. Why would she book a flight and not mention it to me? I tried to think of a reason. Was it work-related? A family emergency? No, couldn't be work. I know the rules. Government contractors can't book business trips on personal credit cards. Maybe a girl's trip? But that didn't feel right either. Jenna would have told me. She always told me about stuff like that. She loved planning. Loved posting about things before they even happened. But this? Nothing. No mention at all. And it wasn't just the flight. It was the destination. Santa Monica wasn't somewhere we'd ever talked about. She didn't have friends there. No family, no reason to go. And even if it was a break or a retreat and she'd be leaving the kids behind, she would have discussed it with me. That's when it hit me. Not like a punch to the gut. More like a cold wind slipping under your armor. Kind that makes the hairs on your neck stand up. Something was off, and deep down I knew this wasn't just a girl's trip. I didn't bring up the flight right away. I waited until the timing felt right. After the kids were out of earshot, when the tone was casual, I wanted to talk. She was folding laundry on our video call, acting like everything was normal. But that one charge kept looping in my mind, so I asked, "Hey, what's the flight to Santa Monica about?" Her eyes flickered, just for a moment. She stopped folding, like her brain needed a second to process. Then came the question, "How do you even know about that?" Her tone wasn't curious. It was defensive. She wasn't surprised I asked. She was surprised I knew. That told me everything. She had no idea I still monitored our finances. She never did the online banking, didn't realize I could see all the fine print, dates, merchants, everything. She recovered quickly, too quickly. Said the trip was for her mental health, a girls' retreat. Said a few co-workers from the base were getting away for a week to reset. She threw in words like burnout and self-care, as if that would shut down any doubt. I nodded slowly. Okay, but who's staying with the kids? Her answer, a neighbor girl, 16 years old. I didn't even blink, I just said, "That's not going to happen. If there's no adult in the house, I'll call CPS myself." She went quiet for a second, then said, "Fine, I'll ask my mom to come stay." That was her backup plan, but I already knew the truth. She never planned to ask her mom, because her mom would have asked questions, real questions, the kind she couldn't answer without lying. I asked what she told her mom about the trip. She said it was for work. But to me, she said it was a girls' retreat. So now she had two different stories running, and I was watching her try to keep both afloat. It was unraveling in real time. The deeper I looked, the worse it got. I checked the calendar. The trip was only weeks away. She never tried to cancel it, never even hesitated. And when I asked who exactly was going on this retreat, she rattled off a few names I didn't recognize. I jotted them down anyway. Military spouses, civilian contractors, some supposedly from her building, but none of it felt real. I waited. I watched. And when the day came, she packed her bags and went to the airport, just like nothing had happened. But even that wasn't normal. She didn't leave for the airport that morning. She left the night before. My mother-in-law called to check in and casually mentioned Jenna had gone to stay at a hotel near the airport. That was a red flag I couldn't ignore. We've flown out of that airport dozens of times as a family. It's only 50 miles away. We never once stayed in a hotel the night before. And here's the thing that really got me. No hotel charge ever showed up on the card. So where did she stay? Who paid for it? And more importantly, who was with her? I waited. About 24 hours went by, and she finally texted me to say she'd arrived. But after that, silence. No calls, no emails, no photos, no wish you were here. Nothing. I asked her to send me a picture with the girls, said it'd make me feel better to see her smiling, having fun. She said they weren't really photo people, said they were unplugging for the week, but this was Santa Monica. Beach, bars, ocean views. You're telling me not one selfie? Not one group pic? I didn't buy it. I checked the bank again, only 2 charges the entire week, both small, a cafe, and a souvenir shop. No hotel, no restaurants, no excursions. She was supposedly in one of the most expensive cities in the country, but barely spent a dime. So who was paying? And then, I remembered something. I hadn't checked the phone logs. I opened them, and instantly, my stomach dropped. One number stood out. Calls to and from that number every single day, sometimes 15, 20 times. Middle of the night, early morning, mid-afternoon, non-stop communication. Except, there were no calls to or from that number the entire week she was in Santa Monica, not once on the trip. Then, like clockwork, the calls resumed the day she flew back. Same intensity, same frequency. It was like someone hit pause while she was away and pressed play again the moment she landed. I Googled the number. It belonged to a man, much older, listed, under a different last name than any of her co-workers. Digging deeper, I found out the number was registered under his father's name. That's when I knew this wasn't just a co-worker. She wasn't on a girls' retreat. She was on a romantic getaway. If you felt this story in your heart, even just a little, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories, and it means the world to me. Seriously, your support keeps this channel alive. By now, I wasn't even hoping for the truth. I was waiting for the lie to collapse under its own weight. So I brought it up again calmly on another video call after the kids were down. "Hey," I said, "just out of curiosity, who ended up going with you to Santa Monica?" She shifted in her seat. Her eyes darted just for a second. Then she said, "Well, actually, most of the girls backed out at the last minute. Only one ended up going with me. Just one. So much for a retreat." I asked for her name. She gave me one, let's say Vanessa. I nodded. "Got it. What does Vanessa do again?" She said Vanessa worked in her building, part of admin support. Thing is, I'd already made a few quiet calls. I had a friend stationed at the same base. He checked. There was no one named Vanessa in admin. No one with that last name anywhere on base. I didn't confront her yet. Instead, I asked about the phone number again, the one she had been glued to for the last year. I said, "You know what's weird? That number you call all the time. It went completely silent the entire time you were in Santa Monica. Isn't that strange?" She blinked, hesitated, then said, "Well, he's a coworker too." So now it was a he. She admitted it was a man, said his name was Tom. Claimed it was just coincidence that he ended up on the trip when everyone else bailed. I nodded. Right, total coincidence. Then I calmly asked her, "What hotel did you stay in again?" She paused, fumbled for a name, said she'd have to check the booking. I already knew there was no booking. No charge on the card, no receipt. She finally admitted they shared a room. Said it was a suite, though, 2 beds. I said, "That's interesting, because the night before your flight, there was no hotel charge either. So, did he spare you the cost then, too?" That hit her like a slap. She was unraveling, trying to catch up to the lies she'd already told. I let the silence hang in the air, then said, "You're lying. You're cheating. And I want a divorce." That's when she broke, collapsed. Right. There on camera, she threw herself on the kitchen floor, sobbing like I have never seen before, screamed that she didn't want to lose me, begged me not to do this, even pulled the kids into the frame, made them hold the camera while she begged me to stay. That was the moment I stopped feeling sorry for her. She was using our children as emotional shields. After that call, I sent her an email. "We are separated. Divorce proceedings begin now. In our state, you need to be separated for 12 months before filing." That email started the clock. 6 months passed. I was back in the country and came by the house to grab some things. She tried to act sweet, tried to initiate something physical. Told her I may have been gone for a year, but I wasn't that desperate. A week later, she came begging again, asked if there was anything she could do to make me stay. She even offered a one-sided open marriage, said I could go with whoever I wanted, said maybe that would balance things out. I looked at her and said, "Maybe if you're completely honest about everything, every detail, no lies, no holding back." She agreed. She started telling me about how they met, how it just happened, how he was there when she felt alone. But I could tell she was minimizing, downplaying everything, skipping parts, rewriting the story to protect herself. So I let her talk, let her bury herself in her own version. Then I told her I'd think about it. Later that week, she thought I was out of town with the kids. She didn't know I still had access to the family locator app on her phone. At 6 p.m., it pinged. She was at a restaurant in a nearby city. I waited, watched her location go back to our house. 20 minutes later, I pulled into the driveway, walked in the front door, and there he was. Tom in our bedroom. He bolted, ran out the back door like a criminal, didn't even have time to put on his shoes. As he sprinted down the street, my son looked up and asked, "Wait, isn't that Tom?" That was it. The kids knew him. This wasn't just a fling. This guy had been around our kids, in our house, sleeping in my bed. I looked at her and said, "What was he doing here?" She tried to say he was helping install a bathroom light fixture. I asked, "In the bedroom? At night?" She got flustered, grabbed her keys and left. Days later, during the custody battle, everything came out. The guardian ad litem, the neutral party assigned to represent the kids, discovered that Tom had practically been living in our house. He picked the kids up from daycare, took them on outings, took showers in my master bathroom. My son had even walked in while they were together in the bedroom one morning. That was the end. I got full custody, moved with the kids to another city. A few weeks passed by. She tried to contact me. Calls, texts, emails. Most I ignored. A few I opened, just to see what desperation looked like when typed out. It wasn't remorse, it was panic. She hadn't just lost her husband, she lost the version of her life she built on lies, the pretend picture-perfect family, the safety net. She kept begging me to come back, said I was the only man she ever truly loved. That line stung, not because it felt true, but because it made me realize how easily she used love to get what she wanted. I didn't answer her calls anymore. One time she showed up at my new place claiming she just wanted to talk. I didn't open the door. I stood behind it and said, "You've said everything I need to hear. With your actions." She cried right there on my doorstep. Neighbors saw, but I didn't care. Then came the smear campaign. She started telling friends and family I had betrayed her, said I was emotionally distant, that I abandoned her during deployment. She painted herself as the victim, claimed I was making the kids hate her. But the truth was louder than any lie. People who knew me, they didn't buy it. Even some of her own friends reached out and said they were sorry, said they had seen the red flags but didn't want to get involved. The worst part? She didn't stop seeing Tom even after all that, even after she swore she'd cut him off for good. Turns out, she had no intention of choosing family over fantasy, but karma doesn't always come in thunderclaps. Sometimes it arrives as silence. Months later, Tom left her. Turns out he wasn't ready for a ready-made family, especially not with someone still obsessed with her ex-husband. She tried to get me back again, said she was clean now, said therapy had helped, said she was finally ready to be the wife I deserved. I told her I wasn't interested in recycled apologies. I'd seen the damage. I said, "You cheated on me, you betrayed us. But the worst thing you ever did was let a stranger take my kids to school like he was their father." Since then, I've kept it civil for the kids, as much as I can, but I don't trust her. Not with my heart, not with my children, not with the truth. And every time she asks if we'll ever get back together, every single time, it feels like the day I caught her all over again. I had to learn how to cook meals, pack school lunches, fix hair, kiss scraped knees, all without breaking down in front of my kids. And while I'd won full custody, I'd also inherited the job of playing both parents. Some nights, I sat up late staring at my bedroom ceiling, wondering how it all fell apart. Was I too trusting? Too blind? Was there something I missed? But every time those thoughts tried to drag me under, I'd walk into my kids' rooms, watch them breathe peacefully in their sleep. And I'd remember exactly why I couldn't afford to drown. I started therapy. Yeah, real talk. Therapy saved me, because for months my mind was a battlefield of second-guessing and self-blame. But slowly I began to understand something vital. Her. Betrayal was a reflection of her, not me. And as that truth sank in, something inside me began to shift. I started reclaiming pieces of myself that I didn't even realize I had lost. Took my kids on a road trip, just the three of us. We laughed, we sang badly to 2000s music. We made new memories, real ones. As for my ex, she still reaches out. Birthdays, holidays. She'll send a long message, pouring out apologies, rewriting the past. But it always ends the same way. I just want to be a family again. And I always respond the same way. We were a family. You set it on fire. What hurts the most isn't what she did to me. It's what she did to our kids. Because every time they ask, "Why doesn't Mom live with us anymore?" Or when my son looked up at me and said, "Daddy, I don't want to call anyone else Dad," it's like a fresh cut over an old scar. I'll never forgive her for that. This isn't just about betrayal, it's about survival, resilience. Before I go, here is the last part of the final letter she sent me on post. I'm not asking for forgiveness, because I don't deserve it. But if there's any chance we could ever have a peaceful future for the kids, I would really, really appreciate it. Please know that I'm sorry for everything. I love you. Always have. But I couldn't love you in the way you needed me to. Drop a comment below if you've ever been betrayed like this. Let your story be heard. Someone else out there needs to know we're not crazy. Smash the like button if you believe cheating is a choice, not a mistake. Subscribe now for more real stories of betrayal and redemption. New videos drop every day, and each one hits harder than the last. Share this with someone who needs to see what real consequences look like.